Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the studio. You are tuning in to episode 4 of module 2 of the Blueprint for Effortless English. I am your co-host, Ben.
And I am Anna. Welcome back, everyone. We are so incredibly happy to be here with you today as we continue exploring the physical mechanics of spoken English.
We are moving right along through module 2, which we call the rhythm of fluency. Over the past 3 episodes, we have really focused on the engine of the English language. We talked about sentence stress and hitting the content words. We talked about the lazy schwa sound in the vowels. And in our last episode, we talked about connected speech and how to link all those words together like a flowing river.
But today, we are adding the color. We are adding the emotion. If sentence stress is the beat of the drum, today's topic is the melody of the violin. Today, we are talking about intonation for intent.
Before we dive into the melody of English, we would love to ask our listeners for a quick favor. If you are enjoying this module and finding these physical shifts helpful for your fluency, please hit the like button and subscribe to the English Chatcast channel.
Your support is what allows us to keep producing this 50-episode course. It helps us reach more learners who are struggling to sound natural, and we are so grateful to have you in our community.
Now, Anna, let us define our terms. What exactly do we mean when we use the word intonation?
Intonation is the rise and fall of your pitch when you speak. It is the music. It is how high or how low your voice goes. And the most important thing to understand is that in English, pitch is not random. It is highly intentional.
Right. In some languages, like Mandarin or Thai, pitch changes the actual dictionary definition of a word. If you use a high pitch, it means one thing. If you use a low pitch, it means a completely different object. But English is not a tonal language in that way.
In English, the dictionary definition of the word stays the same regardless of your pitch. The word apple is always a fruit, whether you say it with a high voice or a low voice. But the pitch changes the intent of the word. It changes the emotion, the grammar, and the social meaning behind the word.
It is not about what you say. It is about how you feel about what you say. And that is why so many English learners struggle to connect with native speakers. They might have perfect grammar and perfect vocabulary, but if their intonation is flat, they sound emotionally dead.
Or worse, they use the wrong intonation and accidentally sound angry or rude or totally unsure of themselves when they are actually trying to be polite. Your intonation is your conversational body language. If you get it wrong, you are sending the wrong signals.
So let us break this down into the core melodies of English. There are a few standard patterns that every English user needs to master. The first and most fundamental pattern is falling intonation.
Falling intonation means that at the very end of your sentence, the pitch of your voice drops down. It gets lower. We use this primarily for 2 things: statements of fact and commands.
Let us look at a simple statement. I am going to the store. Listen to the very last word, store. My voice starts a little higher on that word, and then it slides down. I am going to the store.
That downward slide signals finality. It tells the listener, I am finished speaking, I am certain of what I just said, and the thought is complete.
Think about a command, sit down. The pitch drops on down. It is authoritative. If a police officer tells you to stop your car, they use falling intonation. Stop the car. They do not use a high, bouncy pitch.
Falling intonation is the sound of confidence.
And this brings us to a massive problem that plagues a lot of English learners and even some native speakers. It is a habit called uptalk.
Oh, Uptalk. This is a crucial topic, especially for our listeners who use English in the workplace.
Uptalk is when you accidentally use rising intonation at the end of a statement. Instead of your voice going down, it goes up. So instead of saying, "My name is Anna," you say, "My name is Anna?"
When you push your pitch up at the end of a sentence like that, you are turning a statement of fact into a question. You are signaling to the listener that you are not sure.
Exactly. I have had private clients who are brilliant professionals, doctors and engineers. They go into a boardroom to give a presentation and they say, "Our sales are up 20% this quarter. We need to invest in new software."
And because their voice goes up at the end of every sentence, the boss listening to them thinks, "Why are you asking me? You are the expert. You should be telling me." Uptalk completely destroys your professional credibility.
It makes you sound weak and unconfident. So if you are making a statement, you must consciously push your voice down at the end. You have to land the airplane. Do not leave it floating in the sky. Hit the runway. Our sales are up 20%. Boom. Finality.
That is such a great visual. Land the airplane. Now, there is a time when we absolutely want the airplane to fly up into the sky. And that is when we are using the second major pattern, rising intonation.
We use rising intonation when we are asking a very specific type of question. These are questions where the only possible answer is yes or no.
For example, are you hungry? Listen to the end of that sentence. Hungry? The pitch slides up. Are you hungry?
Do you like coffee? Is it raining outside? Have you finished the report? In all of those examples, the very last syllable lifts up.
Why do we do that? We do it because rising intonation is a social invitation. When your voice goes up and stays up, it leaves the conversational door open. It signals to the other person that it is their turn to speak. You are handing the microphone over to them.
That is exactly right. If you ask a yes or no question with falling intonation, it sounds like an interrogation. If I look at you with a flat, falling pitch and say, "Did you eat my sandwich?" it does not sound like a friendly question. It sounds like an accusation. I am demanding an answer.
So if you want to sound friendly and inviting, your yes or no questions must rise at the end. Are you ready to go?
But here is the tricky part that confuses a lot of students. Not all questions use rising intonation. This is where we go back to falling intonation.
Right. We use falling intonation for what we call WH questions. These are questions that start with who, what, where, when, why, or how.
With these questions, you are not asking for a yes or no. You are asking for specific information. And because you are asking for facts, the intonation pattern mimics a statement of fact. It falls.
Think about it. What is your name? Where do you live? Why are you late?
If you use rising intonation on a what question, it sounds incredibly strange. If you say, "What is your name?" with a high rising pitch, you sound like you are incredibly shocked or like you did not hear them the first time and you need them to repeat it.
That is a great point. Rising intonation on a what question implies surprise or disbelief. If you tell me you bought a new car and I say, "What did you buy?" with a rising pitch, it means I am shocked. But if I just want the information, I say, "What did you buy?" with a falling pitch.
So just to summarize those first two rules, because they are the foundation, statements, commands, and WH questions go down. Yes or not questions go up.
If you just master those two directions, your spoken English will instantly sound 50% more natural. But we are not going to stop there, because human emotion is not just up or down, it is complex.
Which brings us to the third pattern, and honestly, the most difficult one for learners to master. We call it fall-rise intonation.
This is where the music gets really interesting. Fall-rise intonation is a scoop. Your voice goes down and then immediately scoops back up on the exact same word. It sounds a bit like a wave.
We use this pattern to express uncertainty, polite doubt, or to imply that there is more information we are not saying. It is the sound of hesitation.
Let us give a concrete example. Imagine we are at a restaurant, and I ask you, Anna, do you like the soup?
It is delicious.
Listen to the word good in that example. It goes down and then scoops back up. Good.
When a native speaker hears that scoop, that fall rise, their brain instantly translates the hidden meaning. The hidden meaning is, it is good, but it is not great. Or, it is good, but I would not order it again. I did not say those negative words, but my intonation communicated them perfectly.
Fall-rise is the ultimate tool for politeness. English culture, especially British and American culture, values indirectness when it comes to negative opinions. We do not like to give flat, hard rejections.
If I ask you, did you finish the project? And you say, no, with a hard falling intonation, it sounds aggressive. It sounds like you are angry I even asked.
But if I say no with a fall-rise scoop, it sounds completely different. It sounds apologetic. It means, no, I am sorry I have not finished it yet, but I am working on it.
One single syllable, no, but the melody changes everything. This is why you cannot learn English just by reading transcripts. You have to listen to the music.
Let us play a game to demonstrate just how powerful intonation really is. Let us take one single word and let us see how many different intentions we can communicate just by changing the pitch. Let us use the word right.
Okay, I love this game.
Right.
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 Right?
Right.
Right. A long, drawn-out fall rise. Right. It is incredibly sarcastic.
Sarcasm is heavily dependent on intonation. If you do not use that elongated, scooping pitch, your sarcasm will just sound like a serious statement, and people will be very confused.
Right.
Right. Very sharp, very fast, with a sharp drop. Right, as in, right, let us get out of here.
4 completely different meanings: agreement, surprise, sarcastic disagreement, and impatience, all from a single word, purely based on the melody.
When our listeners realize they have this power, it changes everything. You do not always need a massive vocabulary to express complex emotions. Sometimes you just need the right pitch.
I want to talk about pitch jumps. This is another area where learners often sound a bit flat. When we get excited in English, or when we want to emphasize a really strong adjective, we do not just get louder, we actually jump our pitch up to a much higher musical note.
This is very true, especially in American English. If I see a beautiful house, I do not just say, "That is a huge house," on a flat tone. I jump my pitch on the word huge. That is a huge house.
The pitch jump tells the listener that this is not just normal information, this is extraordinary information. It conveys enthusiasm. If you say, "I had a wonderful weekend," and you stay on a flat pitch, the native speaker is not going to believe you. They're going to think you actually had a terrible weekend.
Because your melody does not match your vocabulary. If the word is wonderful, the pitch has to jump up. I had a wonderful weekend.
Conversely, when we talk about something very serious or very sad, we drop our pitch below our normal speaking voice. We go into a low register.
It was a terrible accident.
Matching your pitch to your emotional intent is the hallmark of advanced fluency. It shows that you are not just reciting words from memory, but that you are truly feeling the language as you speak it.
How do our listeners actually practice this? Because unlike grammar, there is no simple worksheet you can fill out to practice your pitch.
The best way to practice intonation is through exaggerated mimicry. When you are doing your shadowing exercises, you cannot be shy. Most learners are too embarrassed to make their voices go really high or really low. They stay in a safe, flat middle zone.
You have to break out of that safe zone. If you are alone in your room or in your car, you need to exaggerate the melody. If the native speaker you are listening to uses a high rising intonation for a question, I want you to go even higher. Make it ridiculous.
Yes, stretch your vocal cords. It is like stretching your muscles before a workout. If you exaggerate the pitch in private, it will feel much more natural and appropriately dynamic when you speak to people in public.
You also need to start actively analyzing native speakers. When you watch a movie or an English television show, stop listening to the plot for a few minutes. Just listen to the music. Watch how the actors use pitch to show that they are angry or lying or in love.
Notice how the pitch goes down when a character makes a threat. Notice how it scoops into a fall rise when a character is keeping a secret. The entire emotional subtext of the script is delivered through intonation.
I also highly recommend recording yourself. This is a painful exercise for a lot of people, but it is necessary. Use your phone to record yourself reading a paragraph of English text.
Then, play it back and listen to your own melody. Are you landing the airplane at the ends of your sentences? Are you lifting up on your yes or no questions? Or do you sound like a flat, robotic line?
Usually, you will find that you sound much flatter than you thought you did. You might feel the emotion in your head, but you are not translating it into physical pitch in your vocal cords. Recording yourself forces you to confront that reality.
It is the quickest way to diagnose the problem, and once you hear the flatness, you can consciously choose to inject some energy and movement into your next recording.
Intonation is also deeply connected to sentence stress, which we covered in episode 1. Usually, the biggest pitch jump in a sentence will happen on the primary stressed word.
Exactly. If I say, I didn't buy the red shirt, I bought the blue shirt. The words red and blue are the most important contrasting words, so those are the words where my pitch will jump the highest. I didn't buy the red shirt, I bought the blue shirt.
The stress and the intonation work together. The stress tells you which word is important, and the intonation tells you how I feel about it. They are the two hands playing the piano.
You really are mastering the music now. You are moving from the mechanics of the jaw and the tongue, which we used for the schwa and connected speech, up into the vocal cords. You are becoming a fully expressive English user.
And an expressive English user is a confident English user. When you know that your melody matches your intent, your fear of being misunderstood vanishes. You know that you are sending the exact right social signals.
Which brings us to the mission for episode 4. We want you to start playing the instrument. We want you to experiment with your melody.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly?
Exactly mean, well, I guess that is partially true, but not really.
Practice those 3 melodies. Really feel your voice moving up and down Feel the difference in your vocal cords.
Once you have practiced, come down into the comments section. Tell us which of the 3 patterns was the hardest for you to physically produce. Was it the sharp fall, the high rise, or the tricky fall-rise scoop?
We love hearing about your physical experiences with the language. It helps us know which areas we need to focus on as we continue building the blueprint.
Intonation takes time to master because you are fighting against the natural melodies of your mother tongue. Every language has its own unique song. You are learning a new song. Be patient with yourself. But if you keep exaggerating in your practice, the new song will eventually become your natural voice. You will find that you are expressing your true personality in English, not just reciting grammar. You are doing brilliant work. You have added the color and the emotion to your English toolkit. In our next episode, Episode 5, we are going to talk about the space between the words. We are going to explore the power of the pause. We just spent time telling you to connect everything and flow like a river, but knowing exactly when to stop the river is the ultimate secret to commanding a room and holding people's attention. It is going to be an incredibly powerful lesson on pacing and authority. You will not want to miss it. But for today, focus on your pitch. Land the airplane, scoop your doubts, and jump on your excitement.
I am Ben.
And I am Anna. If you enjoyed learning about the melody of English today, please remember to like and subscribe. We appreciate you being part of this journey. Until next time, keep practicing, keep listening, and remember, learning English with us is
A piece of cake. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time on the English Chatcast.